My brother dumped a bowl of beef soup on my head, then sneered in the middle of my mother's birthday party, "You've got 15 minutes to leave my family." My parents were silent, then applauded in agreement. I wiped my face, pulled out a stack of documents, slammed them on the table and said coldly, "Fine, 15 minutes and everything of yours will be gone." My name is Naomi Fletcher, 31, cardiothoracic surgeon in Chicago. The soup hit like a slap, hot beef broth exploding across my face, dripping from my hair onto the white tablecloth at Mom's 53rd birthday party. My brother Ryan slammed the empty terrain down and snarled, "You've got 15 minutes to get out of this family." Mom and Dad stared at their plates. My little sister Kayla clapped like it was the best show she'd seen all year. I wiped my eyes, reached into my bag, pulled out the thick folder, and dropped it on the table with a thud that silenced the room. "Fine," I said, voice ice cold. 15 minutes from now, everything you own disappears. Comment where you're watching from and hit subscribe if your family ever turned on you. Stick around because this gets worse. Growing up in Charleston's humid low country, our family lived in a weathered wooden house right on the banks of the Ashley River. The place had creaked since the 80s with peeling paint and a wraparound porch that sagged under the weight of too many summer storms. Dad Richard Fletcher worked long hours as a construction engineer, coming home dusty and quiet most nights. Mom Patricia Fletcher taught 3rd grade at the local elementary school and always smelled like chalk and cafeteria pizza. My brother Ryan Fletcher came along when I was 4, the middle kid who quickly became the center of everything. From the start, he got the best of what little we had. Private school tuition scraped together from overtime pay, new sneakers every season, and a used dirt bike for his 10th birthday. Mom would beam when he brought home a B-, saying he was just finding his way. Dad slapped him on the back for every little league hit, even the fouls. Then Kayla Fletcher arrived 6 years after Ryan, the baby, who sealed the deal on favoritism. By the time she was in kindergarten, the rules had shifted entirely. Her elementary school was the fancy one across town, the kind with uniforms and Latin classes. Mom drove her there every morning, packing organic lunches, while I caught the public bus with a peanut butter sandwich. Kayla's dance recital got front row seats for the whole family. My science fair wins earned a quick nod before Dad turned back to the TV. Money for Ryan's hobbies flowed like the river outside our door. Guitar lessons, summer camps, even a part-time job at Dad's firm that was more hanging out than actual work. When he turned 16, a shiny red pickup appeared in the driveway. Dad's bonus from a big project. Kayla hit 18 and got a sleek white sedan, keys handed over at her graduation party with balloons and a cake shaped like a college diploma. I watched from the sidelines, saving every paycheck from hospital shifts to cover my own loans. Grandpa Harold Fletcher lived 20 minutes away in a modest brick ranch house filled with old medical journals and pill bottles from his pharma days. He built a small company back in the 70s supplying heart meds to local clinics before selling out for a decent profit. In his later years, he slowed down, but his mind stayed sharp. Dad visited maybe twice a year, always rushing through with excuses about work deadlines. Mom sent birthday cards but skipped the actual days, claiming grading piles or school events. Ryan ignored Grandpa's invitations completely. He'd blow off Sunday dinners for hangouts with friends, texting that he was too busy even when Grandpa called personally. Kayla was worse. She'd promised to stop by after cheer practice, then flake with stories about study groups or mall trips. Grandpa never complained out loud, but I saw the disappointment in his eyes when the phone went unanswered again. I made the effort. Every month, no matter the residency schedule, I flew down from Chicago or drove the 12 hours straight. We'd sit on his back patio sipping sweet tea while he recounted stories of early drug trials and patients he'd helped indirectly. He'd quiz me on anatomy, nodding approval at my answers. "You've got the fire, Naomi," he'd say quietly. "The others, they're just passing through." I brushed it off as old man talk, but it stuck. One weekend, when I was 25, Grandpa pulled me aside after lunch. His hands trembled slightly as he handed me a faded photo of his first lab team. "Keep pushing," he whispered. "Madison needs people who care more about lives than lifestyles." Ryan had skipped that visit for a beach trip. Kayla texted she had a headache. Grandpa didn't mention them again that day. Holidays highlighted the divide. Thanksgiving meant Ryan carving the turkey like a king, Kayla snapping selfies with the pies. Grandpa sat at the end of the table picking at his plate while Dad dominated the conversation with job site tales. Mom fussed over the younger two refilling their glasses before anyone else. I helped clear dishes, catching Grandpa's glance across the kitchen. He'd mouth thank you when no one watched. Summers brought more of the same. Ryan and Kayla lounged by the river in new boats. Dad financed blasting music that echoed over the water. Grandpa's invites for fishing went unread. I joined him instead, casting lines in silence while he shared tips on patience and precision lessons that applied to surgery as much as hooks. "Details matter," he'd repeat. "Skip them and everything unravels." By my late 20s, the pattern was set. Ryan dropped hints about needing cash for ideas, getting quick checks from Dad without questions. Kayla's college fund grew fat, while mine came from scholarships I hunted alone. Grandpa's health faded, heart issues ironic for a man who'd profited from cures. Visits to his house became my escape away from the noise of favoritism back home. He'd greet me at the door with a weak hug, eyes lighting up. "Tell me about your cases," he'd demand, settling into his recliner. I described complex valve repairs, bypass grafts under pressure. He listened intently, asking follow-ups that showed he still tracked the field. "Proud of you," he'd murmur each time. The others, rarely a mention. One rainy afternoon, as I packed to leave, Grandpa gripped my arm. "Family isn't always who shares your blood," he said. "It's who shows up." I nodded, thinking of the empty chairs at his table over the years. Little did I know how those words would echo. 8 years into my grueling Chicago residency, the operating room became my battlefield. Cases piled up, congenital defects, ruptured aortas, hearts failing under years of neglect. I thrived on the pressure-stitching arteries while monitors beeped in frantic rhythm. Colleagues called me relentless. Patients called me a miracle. The breakthrough came during a midnight shift. A 68-year-old CEO collapsed at a gallamassive myocardial infection. Transported to our trauma bay, his vitals crashed. The attending handed me the scalpel. First assist turned lead when complications hit. I cracked the chest, bypassed 3 blocked vessels, implanted a temporary pump to stabilize. 12 hours later, he breathed on his own. Local news exploded. "Young surgeon saves tech titan." My photo graced the Tribune headlines praising the heart whisperer from the South. Reporters camped outside the hospital. Interviews followed, CNN affiliate medical podcasts. The CEO sent a handwritten note. "You gave me a second chance." His company donated equipment to our cardiac wing. My name circulated in boardrooms, fellowship offers, flooding my inbox. I stayed grounded, focusing on the next chart. Back home, Ryan chased different headlines. At 23, he quit community college after 1 semester, declaring traditional education a scam. He pitched Health Track app wearable integration for real-time vitals, promising revolution in preventative care. Investors bit small, banks bit bigger. Dad co-signed the initial loan, but Ryan needed more. A local lender approved $1.6 million based on prototypes and charisma. He rented co-working space downtown, hired developers fresh out of boot camps. Marketing splashed across social, Ryan in hoodies demoing mock-ups at conferences. Kayla, then 15, tagged along for photo ops, posing with mock devices. Early demos impressed. Beta users signed up. Ryan bought a condo overlooking the Battery, leased a Tesla on credit. "This is just the start," he texted the family group. Cracks appeared fast. Coding delays mounted. Servers crashed during tests. Competitors launched similar features cheaper. Funding rounds stalled. Investors wanted revenue, not renders. Ryan doubled down, borrowing against the app's IP. Suppliers demanded upfront. Staff quit over unpaid wages. By year 2, the $1.6 million vanished into burn rate. The collapse hit sudden. Key partner pulled out. Lawsuit followed for breached contracts. Bank statements turned red. Overdraft fees. Collection calls. Ryan liquidated assets. Condo sold at loss. Tesla repossessed. Creditors circled. He moved into a studio couch surfing when rent lapsed. Kayla, now 19, and in her first year of college, felt the ripple. Tuition checks bounced. Dad covered 1 semester before tapping out. She dropped to part-time classes, crashing with Ryan to save dorm costs. They shared takeout, arguing over bills. Kayla waitress nights, sending portions home. Ryan promised next pivot weekly, but pitches fell flat. Grandpa Harold watched from afar. His health declined steadily. Congestive failure meds he once distributed now sustaining him. Hospital stays lengthened. Oxygen tanks became permanent. I coordinated care remotely, consulting as cardiologist between shifts. Ryan sent generic get well texts. Kayla posted sympathy emojis on social. 3 years ago, the end came quiet. Grandpa slipped away in his sleep monitors, flatlining at dawn. I flew down immediately, handling arrangements while the others arrived late. Funeral drew sparse crowd, old colleagues, a few neighbors. Dad spoke briefly. Mom dabbed eyes. Ryan checked his phone. Kayla scrolled feeds. After the service, a lawyer approached me in the parking lot. Miss Fletcher, Harold specified private delivery. He handed a sealed envelope thick with documents inside, official letterhead stating confidential inheritance matter designated solely to Naomi Fletcher. No details, just instructions to call for scheduling. I tucked it away, mind racing. Family gathered at the house post-burial. Ryan eyed Grandpa's watch collection. Kayla fingered antique vases. Dad suggested selling the property to split proceeds fair. I stayed silent, envelope burning in my pocket. The lawyer's words echoed sole designation. I excused myself early, claiming flight delays. Back in Chicago, I opened the letter alone. It outlined assets, company shares, trust details, but sealed sections required in-person verification. For your eyes only, it stressed. I locked it in my safe, telling no one. Ryan called weeks later, fishing for any paperwork Grandpa mentioned. I deflected with work excuses. Debt collectors Ryan daily. Kayla transferred schools closer to his apartment, sharing grocery runs. They leaned on Mom for utilities, Dad for car insurance. I sent nothing. My own loans lingered, fellowship unpaid. The secret weighed heavier with each evasive conversation. Media attention faded. Surgeries resumed. Another high-profile save a senator's wife kept my name circulating. Offers poured in, private practice partnerships, research grants. You weighed options. The envelope's promise lingering unresolved. Ryan's final pitch failed spectacularly. Demo day glitched live. Investors walked. Bankruptcy filing followed. 1.66 million unsecured personal guarantees triggering. Kayla quit classes entirely picking up barista shifts to cover basics. They shared a one-bedroom tension thick. I scheduled a lawyer meeting discreetly. Flight booked under work conference. The inheritance remained my burden alone. Family oblivious to the shift about to come. The call came right after a 22-hour shift phone buzzing against my scrubs as I collapsed onto the on-call bunk. Ryan's name flashed. I answered expecting another bailout plea. Instead, his voice dripped. Honey, hey sis, mom's turning 53 next weekend. Big party at the house. Everyone's coming. We're all so proud of you. The famous surgeon now. Kayla jumped on the line extension pickup. Yeah, Naomi, you have to come. It wouldn't be the same without our star. Their enthusiasm felt rehearsed, but exhaustion won. I agreed, muttering about scheduling. Sleep came fitful. Morning rounds blurred into discharge summaries. Between patients, I slipped out to Michigan Avenue. The Swiss watch boutique gleamed under spotlights. I selected a slim gold timepiece for Mom. Classic face leather strap understated elegance. The clerk engraved to Mom with love. And on the back, boxed and ribboned. It cost 2 paychecks, but worth it. Flight options were pricey last minute. I chose the drive instead. 12 hours straight interstate cutting through cornfields and mountains. Packed overnight bag cooler with energy drinks. Playlist of podcasts on aortic repairs. Hit the road at dawn. Chicago skyline fading in the rear view. Miles ticked by. Indiana flatlands gave way to Kentucky hills. Radio stations shifted from urban beats to country twang. I stopped once for gas in Knoxville stretching legs under fluorescent pumps. Thought about Mom's reaction to the watch her wrist always bare since Dad's cheap gift years ago. Phone pinged midway. Sarah Mitchell, my ER nurse best friend since internship, texted, heard from a Charleston contact. Your siblings are asking around about estate lawyers. Don't go. They're stirring money pots. I stared at the screen. Thumbs hovering. Another message. Ryan's been named dropping your CEO saved to lenders. Smells like setup. I pulled over at a rest stop engine idling. Sarah and I met day 1 of orientation. Her steady hands during codes, my precision in chaos. She knew the family dynamics, had listened to rants over cheap wine. Trust your gut. Her final text read. Gut said proceed. Eyes open. I merged back onto I-26 South Carolina, signs welcoming. Sunset painted the low country gold as Charleston approached. Familiar exits triggered memories, but I pushed them down. Focus on the party, the gift, the drive home. Arrived after dark, house lights glowing ahead. Parked behind a row of cars more than expected. Grabbed the watch box, slung bag over shoulder. Door opened before I knocked. Ryan grinned wide, pulling me into a hug that lingered too long. The hero returns. Kayla bounced in hallway, snapping a selfie. Hashtag family reunion. Mom appeared. Apron dusted with flour. Her eyes widened at my scrub still on. Naomi, honey, you drove all this way. Presented the box. She unwrapped carefully, gasp escaping as gold caught light. It's beautiful. Slipped it on wrist, transforming. Dad nodded approval from the couch, beer in hand. Guests milled neighbors. Old classmates, a few faces from Ryan's failed venture. Sarah's warning echoed. Ryan steered me to the kitchen, arm around shoulders. We've got big plans for Mom's Day. Speeches, toasts. Kayla poured sweet tea, ice clinking. Their energy buzzed unnatural. Settled into guest room upstairs. Same one from childhood, posters long gone. Unpacked essentials, set alarm for early departure postpart. Phone charged, Sarah's texts unread again. Downstairs, laughter rose. Barbecue scent wafting. Lay awake staring at ceiling cracks. 12 hours behind the wheel. Body aching, mind alert. The watch sat gift wrapped, no more but something else wrapped tight, anticipation mixed with dread. The house glowed under string lights in the backyard, strands crisscrossing above folding tables draped in checkered cloths. Nearly 50 guests mingled on the grass. Cousins, old high school friends, Dad's work buddies, nursing beers. Smoke rose from the grill where ribs sizzled, hickory scent mixing with citrus from lemonade pitchers. Mom held court near the dessert station, new watch sparkling as she accepted hugs. Dad flipped burgers, apron stained with sauce. Ryan circulated with a tray of day-old eggs, laughing loud at every joke. Kayla posed for group photos, phone flash popping. I grabbed a plate loading coleslaw and brisket. A neighbor cornered me first. Heard you're saving lives up north. More followed, questions about surgeries, city living. I answered politely. Fork midway to mouth. Ryan spotted me across the lawn, waved me over to his cluster. Everyone, this is the sister I told you about. The heart doc. Claps rippled. He slung an arm around my shoulders. Health tracks getting new life. Investors circling again. Prototype 2 launches next quarter. Heads nodded impressed. One guy in Apollo asked technical details. Ryan rattled buzzwords. AI integration, cloud syncing, debts restructuring. Clean slate soon. Kayla chimed in, nearby voice carrying. And I'm heading to Europe, study abroad program in Paris. Fashion marketing semester. Applause for her too. She twirled sundress, flaring, scholarship covered, half saving for the rest. Guests cooed over her ambition. Conversation shifted to me. An aunt leaned in. Still single Naomi? With that salary, you could buy a mansion. Laughter erupted. Ryan grinned. Yeah, renting a condo. Dr. Money going to ramen noodles. Kayla joined the pylon. Living like a med student. Pizza boxes and takeout. When's the upgrade? More chuckles. I forced a smile, chewing slowly. Priorities differ. Dad called for toasts. Glasses raised sweet tea for some beer for others. Mom beamed center stage. Ryan spoke first, voice booming. To the woman who held us together. Cheers. Kayla added a tearful bit about best mom ever. I stayed quiet, plate emptying. Ryan pulled Kayla aside near the hedge close. His whisper carried on the breeze. Just keep her from interfering. Kayla nodded, eyes darting my way. Music started, Bluetooth speaker pumping oldies. Couples danced on the patio bricks. I slipped to a table edge refilling tea. Another relative approached. Your siblings are on fire. Ryan's comeback. Kayla's adventure. You must be thrilled. Nodded vaguely. Watched Ryan glad hand a banker type gesturing wildly about equity rounds. Kayla scrolled her phone showing Europe brochures to a circle of girls. Their excitement genuine. Mine guarded. Fire pit crackled to life. Marshmallows passed. Stories flowed, childhood antics mostly starring the younger two. I contributed little, observing dynamics unchanged. Mom found me later. Watch glinting. Thank you again. Hugged tight. Dad grunted nearby approval. Ryan interrupted, pulling Mom for photos. Kayla tagged along, armlin. Guests thinned as stars emerged. Cleanup began. Trash bags stacking chairs. I helped fold tables, muscles sore from the drive. Ryan clapped my back. Great having you here, sis. Kayla hugged quick. Stay longer next time. Their warmth surface level, eyes calculating. Ryan stood up, lifting the entire soup tureen. Kayla giggling beside him. The remaining guests quieted, sensing a shift. He cleared his throat theatrically. Before dessert, a quick announcement. Grandpa left an inheritance for the whole family, pharma company shares, plus a trust fund. Naomi gets nothing. Silence dropped like a curtain. Forks paused mid-air. Mom's smile froze. Dad set down his beer. I met Ryan's gaze. That's wrong. He never said it was for everyone. His face twisted red. You calling me a liar? The tin tilted. Hot beef soup cascaded over my head. Broth burning, scalp chunks sliding down my neck onto the dress. Gasps erupted. Kayla covered her mouth, eyes wide with mock shock. Ryan slammed the empty vessel. You have 15 minutes to leave this family. Kayla stepped forward, voice sweet. Just accept it, sis. You don't have a share. I wiped broth from my lashes with a napkin, reached into my bag, pulled the thick folder, and slammed it center table. Plates rattled. Fine. 15 minutes from now, everything you have vanishes. Open the folder, flip to the notarized will copy. Read aloud. I, Harold Fletcher, bequeath my pharmaceutical company shares valued at $3.5 million and the trust fund of $1.8 million solely to my granddaughter Naomi Fletcher. She alone continues my mission in cardiac medicine through her surgical practice. Explicitly excluded are those who showed indifference during my lifetime. Mom's hand flew to her chest. Dad stared blank. Ryan's mouth open-closed. Kayla's giggle died, pointed to the clause. See the signatures, witnesses, notary seal. No provision for the cold-hearted. That's you? A cousin leaned in, scanning pages. It's legit. Murmurs spread, phones emerged. Flashes capturing the document. Someone whispered. He cut them out. Ryan lunged for the papers. I pulled back. Touch it and it's tampering. He froze, veins bulging. Kayla tugged his sleeve. Do something. Dad finally spoke, voice weak. Harold never mentioned because you visited twice in 5 years. Turned to Mom. Cards don't count as presents. She looked away. Watch heavy on her wrist. Guest shifted, uncomfortable. One aunt muttered. Explains the favoritism stories. Another nodded. Naomi was always there. Ryan paced, fists clenched. This can't stand. Lawyers will contest and trigger the no contest clause. Tap the paragraph. Any challenge voids your claim forever, even if you thought you had one. Kayla's eyes darted to exits. But we need you assumed. Close the folder. Assumptions cost. Soup cooled sticky on my skin, but the room heated with tension. Phones recorded discreetly. A neighbor live streamed to a group chat. Comments scrolled, audible drama. She got it all. Mom reached out. Naomi talked privately. No. Stood firm. Public declaration deserves public correction. Dad rubbed temples. Ryan kicked a chair leg. Kayla scrolled frantically, perhaps searching legal loopholes. Guests formed clusters debating authenticity. Pointed to the date, signed 6 months before passing. Updated after your last no-show birthday. Ryan roared. You hid this private designation. Lawyer's orders. Shrugged. You announced first. Silence thickened. Broth dripped from my hair onto the tablecloth, staining red. No one moved to help. A guest broke it. Congrats, Naomi. Deserved. Sparse claps followed. Awkward. Ryan's glare could melt steel. Kayla whispered urgently in his ear. He shook her off. Fold her back in bag. I said, clock's ticking. Ryan's fist raised. I slid 3 stapled packets from the inner pocket and spread them like playing cards. Packet 1, IRS Form 4564, official seal, addressed Ryan M. Fletcher. Taxpayer ID ending 8291. Hater Notice of Audit HealthTrack LLC bullet points listed deducted $680,000 in marketing, zero invoices, $420,000 equipment, leases, assets never delivered, closing, civil fraud penalty, 75% criminal referral pending. I explained. Calm, your bankruptcy lawyer forwarded this when I inquired about liens, public record now. Ryan tore it open, paper ripping. They can't prove they already did. Packet 2, single page from the trust, caution yellow highlighter over clause 7b. In the event any beneficiary, heir or claimant initiates litigation contesting validity or distribution of this trust, such party shall forfeit all rights to any benefit here and be liable for opposing legal fees. Notary seal dated 3 months post-will. Grandpa added this after your last skipped visit. I said lawyer mailed me the update standard for sole beneficiary. Kayla's lips trembled. So if we sue, we get zero and pay my costs. Packet 38-page debt assignment, bank letterhead, page 1, transfer of promissory note at tithe 2022 0 seek in principal $1,600,000 from First Coastal Bank to Naomi Fletcher MD. My signature notarized beside Bank VP. Page 5. Acceleration clause triggered. Page 7. Foreclosure timeline notice. Monday, auction Friday. I bought the note to secure Grandpa's legacy. I continued. Your default triggered cross-collateral, condo, car, everything. Ryan's scream shattered glassware. He hurled the contract. Pages fluttered like confetti. Kayla sank, knees buckling. Mom whimpered. This is cruel. This is consequence. A guest whispered. She bought his bankruptcy. Ryan bolted toward me. I stepped behind the grill. Officers appeared at the gate. 2 uniforms. 1 sergeant. Welfare check. 9:47 p.m. Call, sergeant stated. Neighbor reported threats. I nodded. Caller. All evidence here. Ryan jabbed finger. She attacked me. Sergeant glanced at soup crust on my hair. Then Ryan's clean shirt. No marks. Civil. Kayla clutched the caudal copy. We're homeless by Friday, I confirmed. Dad supported Mom inside. Guests vanished into shadows. Ryan kicked the table leg, wood cracked. Cuffs flashed. Last warning. He froze. Kayla followed, officer's voice breaking. Please, options. Bankruptcy court, sergeant advised. Tomorrow, yard cleared, lights off, embers dead. I zipped the bag. 4 months later, the foreclosure notice was taped to Ryan's door. Red stamp glaring under the porch light. Auction followed, condos sold for pennies on the dollar. Chapter 7 filed. Debts discharged except the IRS lien. He rented a studio above a laundromat. Walls thin, washer vibrations constant. Kayla quit college mid-semester. Tuition unpaid, credits frozen. She clocked full shifts at a downtown coffee chain. Apron stained, tips meager. Double espressos for tourists. Fake smiles through exhaustion. Dreams of Europe faded to inventory counts. A handwritten letter arrived from Mom and Dad, envelope scented with old perfume. Pages of apologies. We were blind. Please forgive. I read once by the fireplace, fed it to the flames. Ashes scattered, no response sent. The pharma shares transferred seamlessly, 3.5 million in blue chip stock, dividends rolling quarterly. Board seat offered. I accepted remotely. Profits funded expansions in cardiac research. The trust's 1.8 million liquidated clean. I established the Harold Fletcher Scholarship Fund. Full rides for low-income South Carolina pre-med students from the Lowcountry. First recipients 2 from Charleston Public Schools, essays echoing Grandpa's passion for accessible care. Blocked every number, Ryan's burner attempts. Kayla's please parents landline. Changed locks on my Chicago condo, security upgraded. Deleted contacts, photos. Group chats. Clean slate. Colleagues noticed the shift. Fewer family mentions. Sharper focus in Sarah toasted the fund launch over wine. Legacy secured. Ryan spotted once at a gas station, unkempt, pumping cheap fuel into a beater. Eyes met. He looked away first. Kayla served me unknowingly at the airport kiosk. Name tag shiny, order taken mechanical. I paid cash. Left no tip, boarded without a word. Parents tried, one holiday card returned unopened. True family isn't blood, it's respect earned and returned.